Chapter 2, Journalizing and Posting Transactions. In this chapter, you will record several transactions in the general journal and posting them in the general ledgers. Understanding the rules of debits and credits are very important. Reinforcing what you have read in the chapter discussion, the easiest way to identify which account or accounts will be debited and credited will be to ask yourself the debit and credit questions, which will greatly assist you. For purposes of this practice set, observe that when you created your new company in Chapter 1, you had selected the start of your business in January. Instead of giving you several transactions to be recorded on different months, you will just be asked to record all the example transactions for the month of December of last year. There are similar transactions that routinely occur monthly, like paying rent, utilities, telephone, and others. As long as you understand the concept behind recording these transactions, you should not have any difficulty when given similar events on different months. I will show you how the first three transactions are recorded by asking these debit and credit questions. So let us begin. On task, click General Journal Entry. On the date cell, enter the transaction date. All transactions will be using December of last year. Our transaction reads on December 1st, the owner opened the business bank account with Bank of America under the business name Your Name MD and invested $200,000. On the GL account, we will enter the debit account using the magnifying glass to assist you. Let's answer the debit question. What did the business receive? The debit answer is cash. Select that. Under description, although it is optional, users must form the habit of describing the transaction that was recorded. Then enter the dollar amount of 200,000 under the debit column. You do not need to put a commas, the computer will automatically show that. On the next row, we will enter the credit account. Let us answer the credit question. What was it for? The answer is that it's for initial investment, which represents the owner's capital. Select that account and enter the dollar amount under the credit column. You will notice that the description has been carried forward for the credit account as well. This whole process is called journalizing the transactions in the general journal. The next step is to transfer this information from the general journal to the general ledgers, the process of which is called posting the transaction to the general ledgers. Using Sage 50 or any accounting software, this posting process is just a click of a mouse. When you click the Save button, you have actually posted the transaction to the general ledgers. Then you get a new screen. The behind the scene posting process is complete, and when you pull the general ledger trial balance, you will see all the individual balances posted to the general ledgers. Moving to the next transaction, also on December 1st, the business issued check number 100 for 36,000 to State Farm Insurance Company for 1 year liability insurance premium covering December 1st this accounting year to November 30th the following year. It gave you a hint to increase prepaid insurance and decrease cash. We can just follow the hint given with a debit to the prepaid insurance for 36,000. Enter a description and enter the description and the amount debited of 36,000 under the debit column. Then the credit will be to cash. But let's analyze this transaction. The business received the 1 year insurance policy, which represents the prepaid insurance account. And the credit is, what did the business part with? The credit answer is, you have parted with your cash. Check number 100 payable to State Farm Insurance Company for 36,000, which represents the cash transaction, and posting this by saving it to the general ledgers. The next transaction is on December 2nd. The owner rented an office space for the business and paid $3,000 rent for the month of December to RMP Properties and issued check number 101 and signed a month-to-month lease agreement. The debit question is, what did the business incur? Your debit answer is, the business incurred an expense in the form of rent. So let us look for the rent expense account. Notice the expenses are arranged alphabetically in the chart of accounts. Give it a description and enter the dollar amount under the debit column. The credit question is, what did the business part with? Your credit answer is, the business parted with cash, issuing check number 101 to RMP Properties to pay the December rent. That will be your credit to the cash account and save this transaction. I'm sure you can follow along succeeding transactions that have occurred for the month of December. Get used to asking yourself the debit and credit questions, and pretty soon you will get used to understanding what account or accounts you need to debit and credit. Do not forget to save each transaction to complete the posting process. Then compare your general journal and the general ledger trial balance with the check figures as shown at the end of the chapter, and be confident that you have entered all the transactions correctly. For all online students, you do not need to print your reports. You will be submitting the next assignment requirements after you have completed Chapter 5. Once the individual account balances in the general ledger trial balance match the check figures, you can do a Peachtree backup or PTB backup of your files by following the same process as problem 1-4. Be sure to label it Chapter 2, which will include both Chapters 1 and 2 for this PTB backup file. Remember that there is no assignment to submit in Canvas until you balance and complete Chapter 5. Just be sure your general ledger trial balance match the check figures, and you should feel confident to proceed to the next chapter. Chapter quizzes are still due every week. Check your class schedule for the deadlines.